Hi everyone, JP here. Welcome back to Riding with JP. And as you can see, there's nobody behind me. It's just me all alone by myself. I just wanted to get on here to talk to you guys about something because I was having a good conversation with a friend of mine, and we started talking about racism. And I was telling him about my first experience with racism, and it just like blew me away because I didn't know it was like that. I was about 14, 15 years old, and my mother, a wonderful and amazing woman, she been through some hardships and some tough times, but God is still good. And she worked so hard to raise me and all my siblings alone. And she was able to muster up enough money to get us out of the city of Detroit. And we were on the east side of Detroit in the hood. It was rough, it was tough, all of that. And I started my high school years in Detroit in Denby High School when I was 14 years old. But I ended up we moved to Livonia, Michigan. Now, Livonia, Michigan, we knew we were moving there, and we were so excited. Like, man, Livonia is going to be so much better. We figured being around white people is going to be way better, because growing up in America, especially during my time, my generation, when you saw on TV all these kids having so much fun doing, like, we would get up and watch Saturday morning cartoons, and all of the cartoons were all white kids. All the TV shows were white kids. All of the commercials, white kids. They were just having a blast, right? So I was like, man, you know what? It's going to be cool being around white people, right? That's what I thought. You know what I mean? And when we moved out to Livonia, Michigan, we lived there for like a year, and it was like the worst experience ever because, man, those people were so racist, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, I wasn't raised being taught about racism or hatred or none of that stuff. My mother just raised us to just like love each other and love other people. Like, we never talked about like race or anything. So when we moved out there, as my mother thought, and so, we thought as the children and as our mother thought, it was just going to be amazing. It will be so much better. Living in the hood, I got jumped, having to fight, being robbed, all that type of stuff in the hood as a 14, 15-year-old kid. That's tough, man. That's traumatic. So to go out to the suburbs was, we thought it was just going to be amazing. But, I went to a school, it was like 1,500 students and like 8 or 9 black. That was it. It was like the black people had their own, we had our own little lunch table in the lunchroom. Then you had the East Indians, they had their own little table. Then you had like a group of like Chinese kids, they had like their own little table, and then everybody else was white. That was like it. But I remember my first experience with racism there. Every class I had, I was the only black kid in every single class. In every class, the whole year, I was the only black kid in my class. And it was like that for all of us. Every class we were in, it was like we were the only black kid. And I remember going into class one day, and somebody drew a SWAT sticker on my desk, and I'm like, oh, straight up, okay, that's how they do it, okay. But I blew it off. Didn't think too much of it. I thought it was foul, but I kept it moving. I'm from the hood, so not much can really rattle me. So the teacher apologized when they saw it. They was able to scrub the desk off. And then the next day I come in, and somebody put nigger on my desk. They drew nigger on my desk. I'm like, okay, they fooling out here. They tripping. So that was my first experiences. And then I remember going into the restroom, the boys' room, and somebody wrote in big black marker like, "We hate you niggers. Why are you here? Go back to Africa or Detroit or wherever you from. Get out of here." And I'm like, man, okay, I think we might need to get up out of here. That's what I started thinking. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. So then there was this white kid from Detroit, just like us. He moved from Detroit because he was getting into fights, getting into trouble in the city, living with his mother. And his mother said, "Look, I can't handle you anymore. I'm sending you to Livonia to live with your dad." So he just moved out to Livonia, and he started hanging around us, the little black kids, right? The black crew, right? And if you closed your eyes, you would think, if you heard him speak, you would think he was a black kid. He had the urban lingo, the urban slang. He spoke Ebonics, pretty much, just like us, right? And the white kids started messing with him, just like calling him names. They started jumping him, like fighting him and everything, like. And they was calling him, for the first time I heard this term, wigger. And I was like, wigger? What is a wigger? And then they was like, oh, a white kid trying to be black. That's what the white kids told me. But that was offensive. I was like, hold on. So you pretty much calling him a nigger, but you just putting a W at the beginning? So hold on, man. So he trying to be black, but okay. But that alone was offensive. So they kind of stopped saying that around me too. And I just got so tired of them messing with this kid, man, because he became my friend. He was a cool kid, man. I didn't look at him as like a white kid, or I just looked at him as a guy that I was cool with. So I told him, I said, look, man, I'm tired of y'all messing with him. I'm tired of breaking up fights. If y'all mess with him again, y'all gonna have to fight me too. It's just all it is to it. So they was like, look, James, this has nothing to do with you, James. This has nothing to do with you. So, I was, I protected him, man. And I'll make a long story shorter. Eventually, the principal called all the black kids into the office. He sent, people came to the office, and you know how when a student comes to the office, a student aide come to the office with a note from the principal, and the teacher say, "Oh, James, you're needed to the principal's office," and all the kids is like, "Ooh, wow, ooh, James, you're in trouble." So I go to the principal's office, and all the black kids are in the principal's office, and the principal say, he call us all into his office when we get there, and he say, "What's going on here? What are you guys doing to my school? What are you doing?" And we all looking like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Every single day there's fighting." And then we were like, "What? We're not doing no fighting." Now, mind you guys, not one black kid is fighting, not one of us. It's only white kids fighting each other. And we tell him this, we're not doing any fighting. And he said, "I know, but you guys have to be influencing this." Like, we was just blown away. Like, I know this guy not blaming us for white kids fighting. It was just mind blowing. They're fighting. I'm trying to break them fighting up and be the peacemaker and tell them to stop bullying this kid. But he's blaming me and all the other black kids. So we all end up, and he threatened to kick he was like, "I will kick every last one of you out of this school." So we scared, we kids. We don't know what to do. So we go home and tell our parents, and our parents all come together like, "Hold on, straight up?" So they all got together, came to the school, and got with the superintendent, and he had to apologize and everything, right? So that was the type of stuff we had to deal with there. And I'll tell you guys one last story. I had a teacher who she admitted to being racist against black people. She just flat out said it. Like, I'm like, dang, straight up. She said, well, maybe I am self-consciously racist against black people. That's what she said. I'm the only black person, of course, as I told you guys a little earlier, that I was the only black kid in every class I had. And she said that I'm self-consciously racist against black people. And I'm just sitting there like, am I in a Twilight Zone? Seriously? So she was the English teacher, so every week we had to read a book. This particular week we was reading To Kill a Mockingbird. So to make sure that the kids were actually reading the books, what she would do is she would have everybody read a paragraph. We would read a certain part of the book, and everybody would have to read one paragraph out loud in class. And the book was, I think I just said it, To Kill a Mockingbird. And everybody that has ever read that book or even seen the movie, you know that the N-word, the word nigger, is used every few words, right? So, you know, she started at the front of the class and then like go person to person, row by row. People was reading it, and every time they got to the N-word, they would look at me like, and the kids were like, and then they would just reluctantly say it. And it was very offensive to me, no doubt about it. And this one young lady, she was like, what is wrong with us? She just outspoken, like she just said it. She looked around the other white kids, and the teacher was like, what are we doing? She's like, what's wrong with us? She was like, well, how can we sit up and say this derogatory word knowing the history of this country, and we see James sitting there? Don't you think that's offensive to him? And then the teacher was like, oh, you're going too far. Now, mind you, this is the teacher who says she's self-consciously racist against black people. And she said, what are you talking about? This is just literature. You're taking this way too far. You're being way too sensitive. And this other white girl, she's like, forget it. I'll read it. I don't care. I'll read it. It's just a book. Nigger, I will hang you, you black nigger. And I'm just sitting there like, wow. So that is my first experience with racism. I was harassed by the police out there. They drew guns on me and my friend, like my Puerto Rican friend. You know, I think they were half black, half white. They was light skinned. But we was at the basketball court, and this old white lady kept looking out her window. We went up to the middle school. The middle school was up the street. So we went there, and it's a basketball court in the middle of all these white people. So as you can imagine, it's like nobody at the basketball court. They didn't play basketball. That's why the NBA all black. But anyway, we up there playing 21. Anybody that play basketball, y'all know what 21 is. First one to 21 win. And we playing 21. But this lady kept coming to her window. We was uncomfortable. She kept looking at us, staring at us. So she came with her phone. She was on her phone. You know, back when I was in high school, they didn't have the cell phones. The cell phones wasn't out like that. It was just your regular cordless house phone. And she on this cordless house phone. And I'm like, man, this woman, I think she calling the police on us. So we stopped playing and we started jogging like, let's get out of here before the police come, because they might do anything, arrest us or mess with us, beat us up, anything. We saw what happened when we was in middle school. We saw what happened to Rodney King. So we was like, let's get up out of here. So we started jogging. Sure enough, 2 cop cars swooped on us with their guns out. They drew guns on us, bro. We kids. Like no facial hair, like 5'5", everything, like kids. Like, and he drew guns on us, man. They both drew guns on us and made us get on our knees and put our hands behind our head, everything, right? And they said we got to report that 2 black teens was trying to break into the middle school. And so they just, you know, I really can't blame the cops, because I guess they was just doing their job. I can't even blame them. I blame that old racist, evil white lady who lied and said we was trying to break into the school. We playing basketball, being kids, minding our business, man. So, and then the cop was really rude, man, like threatening and like you know, he was patting me down like, do you got any drug paraphernalia on you? Got any weapons before I pat you down? All this crazy stuff. And I'm like, I can't imagine him doing that to his 14-year-old kid, man. Seriously. So that was my first experience with racism. It was the worst year of my life. I'm so grateful, you know, that I got that experience, because it helped me learn what the real world was all about. And right now, I raise my kids. I let them know what this world is about. They're young, but I still let them know. I let them know you're descendants of slaves. I let them know that even though all the evil that's done to you, God's favor is still with you. That Jesus still died for you. You still important. You still walk in love and show everybody love. I don't care who they are. You don't treat people bad no matter what. So I just wanted to share that with y'all because we had an interesting conversation. All right, guys, this was a special episode of Riding with JP, but I do appreciate all you guys' support, man, and showing me love, man. I just started a few months ago, and, you know, I want you guys to subscribe. If you like what you heard or you want to check out more of my content, go ahead and check it out. Look in the description. I put my personal email. That way you guys can reach out to me if you want. You can check me out on social media. I got the links in the description. I got a link to my other channel named after yours truly. On here, I'm Riding with JP, but my other channel, I'm just James Price, regular old Jimmy P out here, you know? And that channel is more Christian based because it's about, I started that channel after losing my wife a couple years ago. You know, I wanted to encourage and inspire other people who've been through loss. So the Lord led me to make that channel. So check me out over there. I hope you like it and subscribe there as well. All right, guys, I love you. God bless you. And thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Riding with JP. All right, y'all. Bye.